Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, day before Fed Day. How is everyone doing? Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Sterling. Oh, very quiet in here this morning. Well, markets aren't doing much either. Well, dollar index confirmed the double bottom. Confirmed, not officially triggered. So, hope everyone has a fantastic trading day. Good morning, George. Let's see where we sit. We had Redbook just come out about 10 minutes ago. 1.3 down from 1.8. Still dropping. We got JOLTS job openings and factory orders coming out in 55 minutes. And that's it for the day. That is it. So very quiet going into Fed Day. Hey, options 22. Hi, Paul. All right. I mean, again, just wouldn't lose money. Don't if you have great setups, fantastic. But it's gonna be might be a little wonky trading because of the positioning itself before the Fed tomorrow. You see, really mixed. Let me just refresh this once more. Pretty mixed today. Chips pulling back after the rally. Oil still pulling back. Financials pulling back. By the way, some of you asked FRC. It traded yesterday. First Republic. It's now started. NYSE has halted it and it's starting delisting today. So you will not see any First Republic trading anymore. The groups, energy, the big loser so far this morning. Utilities, financial are the only things that are positive going into the open so far. We're at 94% for the rate hike, so it's pretty much a lock. The rate hike is a lock at this point, clearly a lock for probabilities. It's still now as a hike, then a pause through September, and a cut in November, December. And then a series of cuts all the way back down. Fear and greed still barely hanging on to greed mode. Hey, Anissa. Good morning, Heinrich. Georgie, buy or sell? What, Georgie? Buy or sell what? I mean, the market? What are you trading? Again, we're at neutral gamma is 41.75. We're trading 41.76. Everything's like positioned at neutral, sort of going into tomorrow so far. That could change by the end of the day. We still have the major call strike now is about 41.80, 41.70, somewhere right in there. Then it kicks in above 4,200 again. Your puts really don't start kicking in. Maybe there's some minor about 41.70, but 41.50 and 4100. Still not a lot of put positioning going in. We had Uber, Pfizer, British Petroleum, Marathon this morning. I don't think people are even looking at historical. Like Uber, I mean, was not real good results, but a big gap up. People aren't even comparing it to past results. By the way, the big one after close, AMD, Ford. AMD is the biggest one, but you got Ford and Starbucks. But first thing I'll be checking on is AMD. Hey, Christoph. So, we're still on the dollar. Here you go. It could be triggering today with the, now this is going to probably shift with the rate hike tomorrow, but it looks like it could be triggering. It confirmed already, so the double bottom is confirmed in the dollar index. It's no longer a potential. In terms of the indices, the stock indices, can we get even a 2-day pullback? Minor support coming in about 41.71. Major support coming in at this point right around 41.57. I'd watch for support anywhere from about 41.50 to about 41.60 if we have a bigger pullback today. That's what I am looking at. It's a major support area. I'd fine tune it with the shorter term harmonics. But you can see it here on the 1 hour. This is a very key support area. For anything bullish, unless there's a fantastic pattern, we have to start getting back above about 41.88 to 41.90. By the way, keep in mind, it's still a clear path move down here. See, just holding on to this support level barely, but if we start trading with some negative internals, we could really go test that 41.50 area. Yeah, thanks for putting that up, Sterling. What do you mean, why is the Fed don't let us trade peacefully? How aren't they letting you trade peacefully, Martin? Hey, Charles, good afternoon. So, that's what I'm looking for in there. Other than that, NASDAQ, still key support 13,260, key resistance 13,350. Anything between there is chop up above 13,350 with strong internals. We'll watch for a breakout play below here. A minor breakdown play, but see, going into the Fed, not counting on much, but your next support would be 13,186 to 13,2. And remember everything, daily cycles are at the top and weeklies are possibly rolling over. Let's check the S&P. That's the most important one. With the weeklies, we still have to see how those week closes, but starting to roll over so far. By the way, I didn't mention it. The double top is still in place, but not confirmed, obviously. The Dow, double top still in place. Daily cycles getting to the top. Support 34,000, then 33,775. Resistance 34,2. And then if we jump above 34,2, still watching right around 34,350 to 34,4. Russell trading against key support right now, 1761. Again, I would not be looking at a bunch of stuff to the downside your next support is 1750. So even if it starts selling off, you got some key support. Resistance at this point, 1780. Let's just jump to the spiders and the Qs. They're just going into the Fed meeting. There's not a lot of fantastic setups. You see yesterday, little topping bar. We're below yesterday's low. So on any rally, it would be 415.51. Support, let me just take a look here. Support, major support is 413.73 to 414. Minor support coming in about 414.50. And yes, the double top still is in place also on the spiders. If it rallied through yesterday's close, there isn't much key resistance until you get up around this upper 416 area, 416.75 to 417. The Qs trading down just a bit, so it'd be the minor gap fill play, but major support coming in still 321. Below 321, 320.20. To the upside, about 322.60, 323, just happens to be the prior harmonic, then about 323.60. My advice again, don't force anything today. The VIX up just a little, but nothing to really talk about there. Yes, the double bottom is still in play. The one-day VIX, however, looks like it's going to test the key support area. The DAX spiking to 16,120 harmonic and then reversing, still in consolidation. Watching for a breakdown play with the DAX, but not looking for anything until we really get on a closing basis below 15,860 area. The notes, after major volatility yesterday, very quiet today. So nothing to talk about there. Boy, we already looked at the dollar index. Again, If it continues intraday, I'm watching 102.10, and then 102.41 is the next key target. Not, yeah, 102.10 to about 102.17 is the minor target. Crude rolling down again. This is just a messy bottoming pattern. It's not even confirmed. It would need to get back above 77. At this point, if we do break down below these pausing bar lows, let's get the major harmonic target, 72.86, and then 62.5 harmonic with the harmonic projection, 71.60 area would be major on a break below 74. Gold, sitting there still. Boy, gold just went to sleep. Yen looks like we're starting to get some posy price action with cycles at the top and overbought. So I'm watching for a topping pattern. There's just not anything just yet. Euro rolling over. Going to be watching where this closes on the daily basis in regards to the rotation zone. We're still below it right now, but we're a long way from the close, and the double top still in place. Pound, just watching in relationship to about 124.30 on a closing basis, because it has not closed below the bottom of the rotation zone since the first cross area back in the middle of March. Bitcoin pausing. Everything's just, there just aren't good setups right now. Unless we get a close below 26,965 would trigger the sloppy double. But would I be looking for a short? It's so sloppy. It's a lower probability I'd be using these for pullback levels. Tesla, slight gap down, still major overhead resistance, 164.50 to 165. Not even great, not even good trading in Tesla. We break below about 157. We'll start watching for a more significant rollover. Any thoughts on AMD earnings? No. It doesn't have a fantastic pattern either. So it would be literally, I'm just looking in relationship to the last one where we're projecting this one. See, here's the big thing. All right. And I'm just using this as an example. So last earnings, let's just go off reported, 69 cents. And revenue coming in at 5.59. And we're trading, lower than we are now. This one, earnings expected lower and revenue expected lower. We're trading higher. Now, if this does a beat, it'll probably gap up. Even though earnings are going to come in lower than last time unless it's a major beat. And this is what we're seeing a lot. Yeah, they're beating on dialed down earnings, but the earnings and revenue is worse than prior. But then the market's like, hey, the stock's up and we're going to buy it anyways. That's why a lot of these are just crapshoots. Yeah, there was a little double here, but that's already played out. See? So any pattern, look, that's already played out. So any pattern going into earnings is just, all right. I mean, longer term, I'd be watching for a rollover play in this with cycles at the top. But we got weeklies at a bottom or lower end of the channel. So could it easily pop up back to 98.23? Sure. If they beat at all, it could be back up in this high area. And then I'd be more watching for a rollover play setting up. Good morning, Todd. Morning, Pep. What else do we have? Amazon triggered the double top on the daily. Thank you for bringing that up. Amazon, I forgot to mention that yesterday, so thank you, Christoph. Always keeping it real with the doubles. Did trigger the double. Would not ignore this minor little area, this 175 with the 50, but longer term, this is a short rolling down easily back below the 200 now. Looking at Amazon on the weekly, the rotation zone is flat, so that doesn't bother me. And it stalled out against the 50 exponential. So watching for that to play out. You're welcome, Heinrich. Does this potentially explain the pullback in crude OPEC's quota-bound members undershoot output targets? It could. I think it's more so because of China's numbers have been weaker. China's numbers that came out Sunday were weaker, and more stuff's just pricing in a recession and a slowdown. But oil's still trading in just a big trading range. I mean, look at the range. Don't get caught off guard. Even if oil comes back down to test 71, it's still caught in this huge range. It's been in since last November. So it's still holding up pretty well. And remember, oil trades in a range and then breaks out or breaks up or down. It's a sloppy bull flag. I mean, if you're really forcing me to bet, I bet you they beat. I bet you they beat and gap up. If I had to make a bet, I would bet they beat and then gap up to the prior high area. And then potentially putting in a major topping pattern in the next little bit. ARK is still watching for ARK to make it back down to 31.68. So that's about it on ARK. Other than that, there's not much to talk about on ARK. It would just be trailing from a short position. Any thoughts on the jolts? They're not going to... I doubt it will be market moving today because the Fed meeting tomorrow, you're going to have people overanalyze it, but it's not going to change anything with the Fed. The job openings are expected to forecast to come down from previous. So job openings still contracting. The quits are supposed to be in line with previous. I just don't see it making a huge difference today. It's already forecast to come in a bit more. Unless there's some really weird, like this comes in at 8.5. It still would not change what the Fed's doing. The market would react a little more, but it would not change what the Fed's doing. Again, with this now going into tomorrow, the Fed watch, we'll just refresh real quick. The Fed watch, 96.5. 96.5. This is a full lock for a rate hike tomorrow. It would be more shocking at this point if they didn't hike. That would shock the market. So tomorrow, what's key? Again, it's not the hiking decision, which is 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's the press conference to see how much they stress pausing for the next meeting. That's going to be key tomorrow. How much they stress the pause for the meeting on the 14th of June. So all eyes and ears are going to be on the press conference tomorrow. Especially since the market's priced in that 25 basis point. XLF potential daily double top in play. Yes, that is. Thank you for putting that in. I had not done my sector review yet. That is a completely valid double. You got gaps left behind. Long way off from triggering. Might never trigger, but that is completely valid on a close below 32.12. All right, with that, gonna let everybody go into the open. Markets are just quiet. So don't give money to the market slot machines on days like today if you don't have good setups. What will happen if the Fed pauses in June? I think it's pretty much expected that they're going to pause. What's not baked in are if they were to, again, if the press conference said, hey, we're looking more to a pause, but we're going to be data dependent, because remember, there's been multiple signs we could be popping back up in inflation. So what's the two things that aren't expected going into June, and we're not even through May yet, but the two things that aren't expected are a pause is expected. If you look at the probabilities, see, coming here, it's a complete pause. And then what's the Fed, they're going to see. Also, the other thing is how long they say we're going to pause for. If they're stressing, again, through the end of the year, now the market has 2 cuts priced in. But if the Fed's like, hey, we're looking, even through next March, we're looking to keep the pause on, because by next March, it has it down to 400 basis points. So that's over 100 basis points in cuts by next March. 125. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, maybe 100, sorry. So that's what you got to think about. The market is still saying you're going to cut. We're going into recession, you're going to cut. And the market is not saying, does not have any more hikes on the screen. So if there's more potential hikes on the screen because PCE isn't coming down, or if they're really stressing, guys, there's not going to be any cuts. We're just going to leave it here. Those are the two things to watch for. You're welcome, Jake. You're welcome, Todd. Thanks. Hey, thank you. All right, I will be back after the close. So that's just a preview of what we can watch for tomorrow. And with that, I shall talk to everyone later today. Bye for now.